Deixa eu só fazer um teste aqui. Live. A gente já tá ao vivo, tá? Hello, everybody. Welcome to KirinoCast. Today is my second episode, and I have an incredible guest here, a Brazilian guy who was born mechanical engineer and decided to leave Brazil to come to Australia, and he did begin a unbelievable business in Sydney. He saw that he had a huge market of electric bikes. And he did learn how to build them, how to design them, how to calculate everything that he needs to make sure that the battery and all the design will have the capacity to ride for hours and hours when a person is on top of it. Felipe also went to China to learn a little bit of Chinese and to bring value to his personal life and also to his business. Felipe will be talking to us today and sharing this whole experience to us. First and foremost, Felipe, I want you to introduce yourself and talk to us a little bit of who you are and what you do and why you decided to do this.
Um, so it's funny because when I was in university, we had to do a final year assignment to get our degree, and I proposed to build an electric vehicle, and we had 13 professors. 12 of them were against the project, but not because electric vehicles back in 2012 was a bad idea, was because that 99% of the sponsors of the university were only manufacturing petrol vehicles. So it wouldn't make sense for them to let students manufacture an electric car if the idea behind having new engineers entering the market was to fulfill the spots that were needed in the automotive industry. So I kind of had my dreams cut down, chopped by the lobbying, the sponsorship that was behind the university. And even though at that time I couldn't realize that, today, looking 10 years back, I can see that that was the reason why they didn't let me make an electric car as a final year assignment. So when I finished my degree, I could come to Australia because I had to learn English, I had to learn Spanish, and staying in Brazil and just competing in that market wasn't something that was very appealing to me. So I spoke to my family. They had the chance of helping me. I came to Australia, and since I arrived, I started writing my career episodes to have my degree recognized by Engineers Australia. And 2 years after I arrived, a little bit short that 2 years, I got my degree recognized, and I was already working with electric bikes. So, like, even when I was in Brazil, I used to go to the uni with my bicycle, and that was actually the best thing I could have ever done because it was so much cheaper than um, driving, and was so much quicker than driving. So I have always been passionate about e-bikes, about bicycles, and then here in Australia, I had the chance of blending my idea about electric vehicles and bicycles. So it was a passion that I was already following before I graduated.
Wow, there was incredible. And you mentioned two things. You did recognize your career here, your degree here. Can you talk us through a little bit of the process? How was it? What did you have to do? And did you get any help? Did you do it by yourself?
So when I came to Australia, I didn't know anybody here. Actually, there was a daughter of a friend of my mom, and but she was here. She was on a working holiday visa, so she was in a short term here, and nothing concrete, solid. She was just having fun and traveling. So I did all the accreditation by myself. There was one Brazilian engineer that I met going to a barbecue, and he was the one that gave me his papers so I could get inspired and follow the parameters. But other than that, I did everything by myself, even my visa. So we need the engineering degree to get a visa. So I did the engineering degree by myself and I did the visa by myself. It was kind of a little bit hard. I paid one consultation, 50 minutes for $220 for an
15
Australian.
for 250.
50 minutes,
50.
50,
Okay.
50.
Almost, yeah. Almost an hour, yeah.
Yeah, for $220, and I paid in cash, and I asked for a tax receipt. The guy just did a something like this and gave to me. So it was
And did it help you somehow?
you know why it helped me, because I had done my homework before, and
Okay.
I had a notebook, so I was
Yeah.
writing everything down, and I was being very specific on my questions. So the 50 minutes were like plan A, plan B, plan C, plan D. I left there with five plans in case something goes wrong, and I could only absorb that much because I had done my homework.
So your
um,
homework was more important than the actual consultation.
the consultation was like the nail in the coffin.
Okay.
uh,
Okay. The
yeah,
strawberry on top of the cake.
yeah, the cherry on top of the
The,
cake. Yeah.
the cherry. Okay, that's nice. Good to know. Good job, Felipe. You also mentioned about your dreams of building an electric vehicle, and you came up with this brilliant idea of building electric bikes. Is e-bikes better than cars?
Well, it's the same than saying a Ferrari is better than a truck. It's like depends on the application. If you need
Okay.
a if you need to commute, if you need to go from A to B in an urban center like Sydney, São Paulo, Tokyo, San Francisco, like I think, I don't believe, I don't feel, I think, rational thinking, the best vehicle for urban centers is an electric bike, or any vehicle that is small in size, like this bike behind me,
Okay.
and it's a hybrid vehicle. So there's human power and electric power involved to power the vehicle. If you go with something like that, could be four wheels, three wheels, even like one wheel, single wheel. But if it keeps at least like these dimensions, or maybe
Yeah.
smaller or compact, and it's a
Yeah.
hybrid human electric, then for sure this is the best vehicle ever to commute in the city.
And in busy cities like Sydney, Melbourne, São Paulo, Tokyo, you can save a little bit of money on parking.
Yeah, it not only parking, like we calculate here, an e-bike will cost you for 100 kilometers range. I'm just talking about running costs. Like you have a petrol car, you go to the petrol station and you fill up the tank. It will cost you about 30 to 35 cents of dollar for 100 kilometers. So it's unbeatable in terms of affordability.
Okay. Well, that's an incredible number. And Felipe, you mentioned that you came to Australia to learn English, Spanish. Did you speak any English when you came to Australia?
I spoke a little bit. I was like intermediate level, but I needed more practice. I need to listen to the. What's funny? Like we are both Brazilians. We both
Yep.
speak Portuguese and we
Yep.
both speak English here.
And Spanish,
Of course, in Spanish,
perhaps a little bit.
we 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 have our accent. We do have our
Uh,
accent.
we do.
However, every time that I was all around the world, in China, Taiwan, other places around the world, people can clearly understand my English. Even with my Brazilian accent, people can clearly understand my English. And you know what's funny? Today, I can understand 100% or 95% plus of what the Australians tell me. Apart from when they are using their regional slangs,
Yeah,
which is not plain English,
yeah,
but I can understand them 100%. But when they listen to me talking to them, they cannot understand what I'm saying. Why?
yeah.
Because they are not trained to listen to someone with an accent different than their accent. So in reality, my English is better than their English. Yes, because I have an international English. I have an international English. CyberBikes has a YouTube channel here.
Okay,
CyberBikes has
nice.
a YouTube channel. We have over 1,700 subscribers. So if you go youtube.com/cyberbikesau for Australia, you're gonna see me there. You're gonna for sure you're gonna understand my English. There are subtitles on the videos as well. So I think it's easier for someone outside Australia to understand my English than understand an Australian person speaking in English. Why? I don't speak a regional language. I speak an international language. You know, I know it's very provoking. It's polemic.
You're being really
But
humble. But for
yeah,
all the
yeah,
listeners that are listening to us right now, I would like you to stop a little bit and go to Philippe's YouTube channel. Which, if you can, Felipe, just text us the YouTube channel on this post. Just post a comment, leave your YouTube channel there, and for all of you that are watching or listening to this podcast on my YouTube channel or on my podcast on my
yeah.
Spotify, just go there and follow Philippe. See his brilliant work, see what he has been doing, and learn a little bit from this young mechanical engineer who is changing the way that bike works. Philippe, now I want to move on to cyber bikes, the incredible idea of putting different types of electric bikes in the market. So, first, I want you to tell the story of cyber bikes. Basically, I want you to explain why you decided to open an e-bike shop in Sydney, and I want you to explain how it began.
Well, so when I came to Australia, I had to find a job, and I had to find a way to survive here. So I had about 8 different jobs before I start working with e-bikes, and by experience, I could eliminate some jobs that were not for me.
Okay,
But on
such
top of
as?
that, so I was a naked model for some time. I left Brazil. I was playing rugby union, so I was very fit at the time, and
Yeah.
they had a good salary. So it wasn't like something like too sexual. I had to stay naked, and the ladies would draw me on what was what they call hands party. So when you're
Okay.
gonna get married, the last party before the marriage, they had the
Yeah.
privilege of seeing this naked Latino man.
Okay.
Yeah, it's an artistic. It was in an art gallery. It wasn't like a porn actor or things like that. But it was funny.
So not
Uh,
only a mechanical engineer, he's also a porn actor who likes to take naked photos. Okay, so
yeah,
this job, how did it go? Did you make a lot of money, or how was
I
it?
think no, I did a few shifts. Wasn't a bad money, but I remember I was talking to my Australian dad, Steve. I lived my first 4 months in Australia at his home with
Okay.
sharing like homestay
Okay.
with his. He was in a tough moment, and I was a fresh off the boat gentleman. So yeah, it was a good time. And he told me, say, man, I earn more than you, and I don't need to get naked. That broke my legs and made me move on, because what's the career? Like, while you are young and training and stuff, you have a good shape, you can do that work, but afterwards, you have to start using your brain. So
Exactly.
was a way to make some money. I started
So then
working
you
for
moved. Then your
then.
next job was
Yeah, then I did landscaping for him.
okay.
I worked as a removalist, as I was strong at that time. I was carrying furniture and helping people move house.
Okay.
Then I worked as a human billboard. That was a nice
Okay.
job. Maybe I get back to that one day, having a
Okay.
company of that sort. Then what else? Uh, I did waitering. I became
Okay.
a waiter. At the same time, I became campaign manager for that billboard company.
Okay.
What else?
So did
Uh,
you did
worked
you did you did you run Google ads, Facebook ads, or
no, it was a face-to-face campaigns
face-to-face
and
campaigns? So
face-to-face
old
campaigns,
old school.
old school marketing, but very effective, man. Because
Okay.
remember that time flash mob was a thing. Remember that flash mob? Someone and we had that song Harley
I
Shake,
do.
whatever.
Yeah,
Remember,
I
people
do.
would
Yeah.
start. Yeah. So it was. Well, we were kind of doing some flash mobs in Sydney at Pitt Street, even before flash mob was a thing. Yeah. So what was a one-on-one marketing? It was very nice. It was a very fun job, man. Very fun
Okay.
job.
And then
Uh, so the thing is, I had to finish writing my career episodes and doing all the paperwork for Engineers Australia. So
yeah.
I had on a board. At the same time, I was recovering from a brain damage that I had.
Oh wow.
I had a few concussions when playing rugby and at some party. So I had concussions. I was really bad in terms of thought, like mentally stable, let's say, because I
Yeah.
have had crashed. If I had broken an arm, people say, he broke his arm. But when you have brain damage, people can't see inside of your skull.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have a broken frontal temporal lobe. Nobody knows, only your behavior. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Does it
So
does
I was,
it did it affect somehow your cortex or
fuck yeah, bro. Fuck yeah. How come you have a wall and you hit
yeah.
your head on a wall once and you sleep? And
Fuck.
then you wake up, you hit your head again and you sleep. And then you wake
Fuck
up,
man.
you hit again, and you sleep, and you're gonna be okay. You're not gonna be okay, man. You're gonna be retarded, you know.
Fuck yeah.
And
That's probably why you were that's
yeah, I
probably
had
why
pretty
you decided to be naked in front of a bunch of people.
a bunch
No,
of
just,
ladies.
I'm just kidding. But okay, now I just want you to go through a little bit, just faster into the jobs that you did until you actually began CyberBikes.
Because what happens, I was doing a treatment where I had to recover from the
Yeah,
concussions.
yeah,
Like today, it's been maybe 8 or 9 years since I had my last concussion. So I've been finding ways to recover. There are people that recover. There are people that cannot recover. So I'm still recovering. Let's put like that. But
okay,
I had a board with 5 images that were my anchor images. So were my grandfather, which was a mechanical engineer as well with automotive engineering specialization like mine. He was a big inspiration. I had my mom. I had a guy lifting weight, doing Olympic weightlifting.
yeah,
I had a bicycle and I had a circuit board, an electronic circuit board. And those were my 5 anchor images for over a month. So in that month, I stopped working. I was just doing the paperwork for Engineers Australia. And as soon as I finished the paperwork, so I was working out at a gym, and downstairs was a e-bike shop. Was one of the first e-bike shops in Australia. So every day I was going to the gym, going back home, doing my assignments for Engineers Australia. Going to the gym the next day, back home, and I was always looking at bike shop. After I finished Engineers Australia, I went straight to the bike shop to ask for a job. It was my easiest interview. I said, "Man, I'm a mechanical engineer. I'm passionate about bikes. I read your website. I know who you are. I would like to have a chance. The guy said, doesn't matter your theoretical things. What can you do for me? Can you install this box on this bike? I said,
You said
yes, of course.
no.
Yeah, and from that day on, I continued. That was maybe October 2015.
2015.
And you know what happens was when I came to Australia, we had a few options to start working. Or you
Yeah.
become an employee. In Brazil, we say CPF.
CPF. Yeah.
Uh, or you're gonna open a small company and you create an ABN, Australian Business Number. In Brazil, we call CNPJ.
Yeah.
Uh, so what I did, even in the early days, I registered my small company business number as engineering consulting.
Okay.
So when I presented myself to the bike shop, the guy asked, "Do you want to become an employee?" And I said, "No, you can like hire my service as an engineering consulting company." But I was just one person doing the job, you know.
Okay.
But
You are
I
just
was
a trade.
I was
A solo
behaving
trade.
a solo trader. I was behaving as an engineer since the beginning, you know.
Okay.
And yeah, so I start working with them. I start being loyal, trustworthy, coming to work at the right time, leaving after hours, uh, being honest, being respectful, treating customers very well, and more. And like I was responsible for repairing the bikes, so I started acquiring more skills. And what put me ahead of other guys that had been working there for a long time. One was never saying no. If they say, Felipe, can you do this? Oh, I can try. Oh, can you do that? Yes. Being proactive in learning instead of saying, oh, it's on a bike. I will not even touch. I'm a bicycle mechanic. You know, I was, no, yes, I'm going to do it. Can you repair a battery? I'm going to study, you know, and so I start taking the manuals of the bikes back
Okay.
home
Yeah.
and reading them aloud. You know, I'm using someone else's flyers here. I'm gonna get a
That's not a good marketing.
CyberBikes. You know, so I start taking the manuals of the bikes and reading aloud
Yeah.
in front of the mirror.
Okay.
So in the following day, I was ahead of the work that was coming to me because I had the manuals. I start reading, and then people will even try to sabotage you. There was an electrical engineer, Australian electrical engineer at that shop, and he was like 50 plus years old, and I was the only Brazilian at that time. There were no foreigners working there, so
Okay.
they had that ratio, you know. He's not one
Yeah.
of us, you know,
I'm better
like
than you.
he might not be that good, so they always come like bullying you, you know. You ask
Yeah.
one thing, they're sharp and blunt and cut you off. Like I say, man, I'm being kind and asking because I don't want to be arrogant. In reality, I might know the answer, but I just want to confirm, you know. And they are always like treating me like really bad, really bad, because I think he was feeling threatened by my but by my work. You know, I was younger, I was hungry, I really want to make things happen, and I was cheaper than him. So I
Yeah.
was had a high productivity, and my cost was lower. So he was
Yeah.
feeling trapped. What happened? After asking so much for a book, for a manual, for anything that would build up my technical knowledge,
Yeah.
I opened one of the drawers over there, and I found a book. The book says the title is "How to Build Your Own Electric Bike." And I say, "Wow, you have this book? Can I read it?" He looked at me. Okay, but you have to return it in 2 weeks. I said, 2 weeks? Okay, let's do it. I read like 85% of the book in 2 weeks. And then he was, hey, you have to bring the book back. You have to bring the book back. I said, man, I need two chapters to finish the book. No, you have to bring it back. It's important for me. So I brought it back. Later on, I could get a copy and I finished reading the book. But that book, all the manuals plus that book, whoa, brought me so much technical knowledge. While the boss, the owner of the company, would say, forget about reading. You're gonna learn at the job. Australians are pretty much like that. You're gonna read it, you're gonna learn at the job, doing the thing. Bullshit, man. You need technical and practical, theoretical and practical, theoretical and practical. What differs us from animals is the fact that we can read and write. People
And
say,
think.
do you speak English? Do you speak Spanish? I speak a parrot, papagayo, a parrot. The bird speaks English too. It speaks Portuguese. But I want to
Yeah.
know if they write and they read. So, writing and reading is super important to learn the language. So that was it. And I started working for that company. I stayed with them for about 3.5 years. And but what kind of made me start my own business was that I saw at least 10 people coming to that shop and leaving it crying because the
Crying.
boss crying, completely arrogant. Many times we made a mistake because we didn't have enough process. I implemented process in that company, but they were very reluctant to accept me giving an idea. I tried to put that idea forward at least 5 times. Then one day, an Aussie guy, Australian guy, came to the shop, say, "Oh, I have been working with bikes for 20 plus years. Are you looking for a mechanic? I could be the manager." Blah, blah. The guy started working. In 2 weeks, he became the manager of the shop.
Right.
Cool, no worries. I pulled that manager aside and I said, "Hey, bro, we need to implement this. Every time we create a customer comes in and we create a job, we have a job number. We have to get a sticker, write that job number, and start gluing that sticker on the bikes because it's so basic. But how, for example, this is a bare metal silver bike,
Yeah.
so they would start a job like this: silver bike, commuter, like full suspension, blah 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 blah. Man, if I'm colorblind, this could be yellow or this could be brown. So I would start brown bike and the bike is silver and more. Let's say if I'm working 8 hours a day, at least 1 hour was looking for the jobs. So I had to look color and match the color of the bikes that are in the room for repair, and more. If you press Control F on your Windows computer, you open the search bar. The boss has been running the shop for 7 years. I said, bro, if you are looking for colors, why don't you press Control F and type the color of the bike you're looking for? And he, like this is like very basic stuff. But imagine how many years people were working 8 hours a day, and at least 1 hour was just trying to find the jobs to do.
There was a lot.
And to see how like cultural exchange and working with people from different backgrounds can delay the process. I was already working for them for almost 1 year. I saw that problem with the jobs coming. I said, man, we have to create a link between the computer and the product. If someone brings a battery, we create the job, write the job number on a sticker, and glue it to the battery. It's so basic. And they were very reluctant because it was me. I tried
Of
to
course.
deliver the message many ways. They simply refused because it was me, a guy newcomer, 2 weeks in the job. I pulled him next. I said, man, we have to do it. And he looks, man, this is the solution. So him and I went there, but I let him do the talk.
Okay.
And then because was an Australian guy talking to him, then the guy accepted. You know,
So
and
you
then
used him to get your idea going.
yeah, because I that was affecting my job.
Yeah.
If I wasn't producing enough, the boss would whip the whip on my back. And I would say, man, it's your process, and I'm trying to improve, and you're refusing because I am the one giving the idea. Anyway,
Yeah. I feel
So
you.
I was,
I
if you are living in a bad environment, and
you need
even
to
though you
leave.
disagree with what's going on, if you stay in that bad environment, you're gonna be absorbing that behavior by osmosis.
Yeah.
That behavior ends up being becoming a standard.
So it's
So
better leave.
I had to leave that workplace, and I try other endeavors. I got hired by other companies, but always presenting them as an engineering consulting company. That was from the early days when I arrived in Australia. I remember the study agency saying, "Oh, I'm going to register you as general labor." I said, "No, no, 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 no. I register myself. So I register my own ABN, and I put myself as engineering consulting." So, yeah, that led me to going to Taiwan in 2017 for a bike show.
Taiwan. Okay.
Taiwan.
Yeah.
And I stayed there for 13 days,
Okay.
and that opened up my eyes so much, and I could get so many. These are some of the business cards, of people.
That you got
So
there.
yeah, you can't find their details online, you know and then you go through the business cards, and then you text, send an email, or give them a call. Bro, you get a contact with someone inside the company that will make your order go faster, or make your order custom. Yeah, what I mean? Because you met that person one day, face to face, you know and like,
2017. Where were you already building your bikes back then?
so in 2017, when I came back from Taiwan, I was literally building my bikes in Australia, what we
Okay.
call e-bike conversions.
Okay.
So I started importing motors and batteries from suppliers that I met at the conference,
Yeah.
and I started doing e-bike conversions. So I was working for bike shops, and every month I was building minimum one bike a month, or
One bike a month.
yeah, I mean, that building bikes a month, when I say that, is someone that comes to me and say, "Hey, Felipe, can you build a bike for me?" Okay. And I quote the job. I explain how the bike will work, and this and that. Present the invoice. They say, "Okay, I want it." They pay the invoice, or at least half the invoice, and I build the bike for them. And then they are acquiring a bike built by me, and my company is providing a bike for them.
Okay.
In that meantime, I started building bikes, renting them out,
Okay.
and in the end, I start offering some kind of lease. If they rent for X amount of time, they acquire the ownership of that bike, and that
And
worked
then
very
you
well.
you you were just charging them an interest rate over
Yeah,
the
interest rate.
installments.
Yeah, yeah, and I was providing service. I was, for example, providing remote repairs in case they
Okay.
need, and was a profitable business because I didn't stop working for other companies. At the same time that I was building bikes and selling them, and building and renting them out.
Did you have a bike shop back there?
I had a company called Phelps e-bikes. So
Okay. And
inside
where
of
was
that
this company?
was inside of my apartment.
Inside of your apartment,
Yeah, the best
in
way
your
to get a
in
business
your
started.
balcony or something.
In my balcony, I had to prepare the balcony for that, because man, if a bike crashes on the balcony, it would break the glass
Okay.
of the balcony, and then it could be a big safety hazard.
So you had
So
you had you had to do an engineering setup in order to have all your bikes there and be able to
yes,
do all the
yes,
maintenances there.
yes, and to increase the space of the bikes, we start hanging the bikes on the wall.
Yeah.
So yeah, we could have 8 bikes in the apartment. Seven
Eight
of them would
bikes.
be on the wall. Yeah,
And how many bikes a month were you renting back then?
I think at peak I had about 20 bikes, 21 bikes on the road,
20?
and 20. But I also had other businesses. I had the rental cars. I had 2 student accommodations, and I was also doing work for other companies. And one thing that I start renting bikes out, and the bikes
Yeah.
start to get stolen, robbed, and the police here
Okay.
in Australia, the police, the New South Wales police, is terrible. If I'm a police officer in New South Wales,
Yeah.
my salary doesn't depend on my performance.
Okay.
If I investigate a crime or if I don't investigate, I'm gonna earn the same. Why am I gonna, go to court, run after a criminal if my salary will be the same?
Okay.
So they are lazy. They are terrible workers.
Look.
Man,
No,
I
look.
say I know this is not a protest. I know this is not the space to. I'm giving my personal opinion. I don't feel, I don't believe, I think they are terrible. They are crappy police officers in general. The vast majority, the vast majority. All my experience with the New South Wales police have been terrible, terrible. In Brazil, if the officers here were in Brazil, they would have been killed. They
No.
would have been kidnapped.
Let's move on. Look,
They,
I don't want
they
to
are
get into the subject because
terrible, terrible, terrible. You can even cut
they
it in
look.
public.
Hey, they have more. They have way more problems to deal with, right? So if
No,
we
no, no,
think
no, no.
about,
They don't have more problems, man. They
of
don't
course
have
they
more
do.
problems. The society here is very stable, and more. The problems that they have, they are not resolving because
Look,
their performance is.
hey,
Why I
look,
say that?
Philippe. I don't want to talk about this here, not today, right? Thanks for your personal
Why
opinion, but I think that we should get back to cyberbikes. And now I want you to tell us, right, the problems that you not the problems that you had when you began the project in your apartment. I actually want you to tell us the benefits that you had when you moved from your apartment to your physical shop. How did it help you? How many bikes were you able to rent when you were out of the apartment?
So, uh, just continuing the bike company, one of my main business models was renting bicycles out. However, I was losing 20% of my fleet every year. How come a business can survive losing 20% of their fleet every year?
Can't they can't?
And that led me, instead of relying on the police to solve the crimes, that led me to develop a GPS tracking company.
Okay,
And today we have cyber trackers.
cyber
We are all
trackers.
cyber trackers. So instead of complaining and blaming them, because I understood how, and one thing it's me talking to them. Other thing is that someone that's Australian. I am Australian now, citizenship acquired, but someone that's Australian, born here and speak exactly like they speak, seems that they work more or they treat better, And I
Now,
say
if you
that
if you
because
watch the news, look, I don't want to be talking about the police because if you watch the news, you will see that people who were born here they also have problems with the police. People who were not born here they have problems. So it's a
Leandro,
matter
I,
that
I
it's.
lost
I don't want to talk about police
I
problems here,
okay.
right?
I lost 19 bicycles.
Fine.
And because of that, that put me out of the rental market.
Okay.
That put me out of the rental market. So when you ask me, oh, you were in your apartment, because in my apartment, if I had a customer coming to my apartment, I had to organize the apartment to make it look like professional. When I
Yeah.
moved to a place where I could have a workshop, then it became automatically professional. I had a business address. However, something that was very profitable at the beginning, I had to discontinue because the crime rate was so high. It's like you watch, we are on the 15th of October 2023. How is San Francisco now? How is California now? Many big companies left California because of the crime rate, because of the laws that are in practice over there. there's no punishment for someone stealing up to $900. So anyone can enter your shop, take your products, and the police won't do anything. They don't even go to court. And because of that, I had to quit that business model and rely on in only sales and repairs of bicycles
Okay.
because
So
I was
then
doing
you
so you know, and
you were just selling then.
yes, and when you ask as an interviewer, oh, yeah, what about that business model? I had to quit because of poor performance from the officers and the laws that are in place. You get what I mean? And that frustrates a business owner. And I was inside. I was in my apartment. I moved to a place where it was an industrial warehouse, so I
Okay.
didn't have people that were on the streets couldn't see me, and that was right after or during COVID. So it was a very hard time for everyone, and I was inside of industrial place. I could continue, kept going, blah, blah, blah. And right now I'm on a shop front. I'm just gonna turn the camera. You see, I have finally like a shop front with
That's
bicycles.
how
And
many do you have now?
no, I don't have many because I'm still concerned. Like last week, we had a bike stolen, but wasn't one of my bikes. Was a bike that I built for a customer. I offered the GPS solution, Cyber Trackers. He bought it. We installed on his bike, and the bike got stolen last week. And we tried to put the police to recover the bike. They didn't do any work. What happened? The customer and we recovered the bike ourselves.
Did you go
We
there?
recovered the bike ourselves,
Did you go
and
to the person's house who
like
robbed your
I,
bike?
I was remotely helping and giving the coordinates.
Okay.
You know, even when the bike was running on the map, I was on the emergency phone with the police saying, "Hey, you have to intercept this bike." You know,
Yeah.
and I just find here. Look, this was my customer with his friends, and
He
they
was
recovered
happy.
the bike.
Yeah. Okay.
They recovered the bike. So the police with guns, uniform, couldn't
Yeah.
go there. But my friends say, you know what? We won't give up to these robbers. You
Yeah.
know, and what amazes me the most are we are immigrants in this country, and I'm
Yeah.
citizen now, so I have
Okay.
dual citizenship.
Yeah.
But people who are stealing the bikes, they are Australian born. Rarely you're gonna see an immigrant stealing the bikes. They are Australian born, so they had all the conditions to be successful, and they are committing crimes.
Yeah. It happens
You know,
everywhere.
it happens everywhere. But we seem to value more this country than people that were born here.
No, it's just you are referring to a certain type of people. There are really hard workers. There are own a business. There are people who are also building business, profitable business in this country, and they were born here. So we are just talking about different type of people.
Yeah, I'm talking about those criminals. You know, like I said,
Yeah.
I had 19 bikes stolen. You know, and I many times I met them. I recovered over 10 bikes.
So
But all
luckily
the
you are an engineer, a really smart engineer who found a solution for the problem. Well done.
yeah,
And
we have the GPS tracker, and it became a business for CyberBikes. You know,
good.
now we
Yeah,
offer
that's
GPS
good.
tracking for like taxi companies. We have
Okay.
over 50 taxis in the system. You know, and it has been great. But this frustration, man, it really boils me because
Yeah, I'm sorry
um,
about that. I really hope that you get a way to get out of that problem,
yeah,
which I don't think that it's going to be so soon because you can't control what other people do, unfortunately. And, this problem that you were having, some other business owners, they are also having not only the bicycle industry, but
a
in the
lot.
car,
Yeah.
motorbike, or any asset that is on the road right now, right? So now understanding everything that you had to go through to get where you are, um, how many bikes do you have today? And at the most, how many bikes were you producing? From one in 2017 to the maximum point on your graph. How many bikes did you have?
Uh, I think I've put over maybe about 150 bikes on the road.
150. So
Yes.
everything began with one e-bike, and you went from one to 150 in.
Yeah, like this last import, we did 50 bikes,
Okay.
uh, and I built so many conversions, you know. So I
Yeah.
think around over 100 for sure, you know, maybe
So
almost
100, so
close to that.
150 in six
Yeah.
years. Can you tell us a little bit of the cost that you have on each bike? General, how much one bike costs and how much you sell them and how profitable is it?
Leandro, I cannot talk about that, man. You know,
Okay, that's that. No, that's so good. That's so
you
good.
know, I think this is a you know, it is one of the secrets of the trade, you know.
Well, some
Yeah,
people don't
yeah.
care about talking of the profitability that they have in their business. They actually like to talk about it, but it's your opinion, and I respect that.
Yeah,
So
I
no,
don't
no,
think
no,
I have
hey, I want look. I want to move on because I know one thing about you that you did, and I have respect for that. When you went to China, right, years
yeah.
ago, I think that you went there to do two things. One, learn a little bit of Mandarin, and the second one was to learn a little bit more of your industry and bring some idea from that. How your trip to China brought value to your personal life and also to your business.
Yeah, so the thing is, when I went to China, I had I had a bicycle show over there. I had one goal, uh, and I knew it was going to be difficult to navigate the country because I had been in Taiwan before, 2 years before.
Yeah.
So I had met a friend which I didn't know him well. I didn't know his practice. You know, I never worked with him. We met. We stayed together for maybe 10 days. You know,
Yeah.
but I knew he had a visa to China,
Okay.
and I had just gotten my visa, and I called him, and he was in Thailand, and I said, "Bro, I'm going to China. I'm going for a conference. You said you want to do business in China. You like electric bikes. You know, I'm going. Do you want to come? You know, we may start a business over there. Blah blah blah." And he said, "Yes, let's do it. You know, come to Thailand, and then we go to China." And me being naive, I did that because
Yeah.
I should have followed my goal. I put someone inside of my plans, thinking in 10 days I would know him enough, you know. And we went to China. I went to Thailand, stayed with him. We end up losing one day of conference because
Yeah.
no, because China. And he was older than me, so he was like kind of manipulating me to where he wanted to go,
Yeah.
you know, where he wanted us to go. And I was just
Okay.
following, you know. In the end of the story was that I was investing my money. The guy didn't have any background in engineering
E-bikes.
or anything that would help.
Yeah.
We diverted the project, which I had first envisioned. We diverted to something else, like this bike here. Um, and then I start to realize that that person didn't have any cards in his name. He was using someone else's cards, you know, didn't have a physical address, didn't have any. He was like a ghost in the systems of
Yeah.
the countries around the world, you know. And I
Yeah.
was with that person, you know, and I was, man, what am I doing? Like I'm. Like, I'm putting my money. The guy's not investing. He's with me here paying his trip, but I'm here as well paying my trip. And I'm designing, I'm cataloging, writing down procedures, doing everything I can to make this frame available. And the guy's going
Yeah.
on Tinder dates saying that this is not working. You know what I mean? So, we left China together and I came to Australia.
Yeah.
Soon, maybe 4 months after that, COVID hit Australia.
Okay.
And I had to, and I moved to Queensland. I lived 2 months in my van. Like, okay, COVID is there. I'm self-isolating. I'm living in my camper van. I'm going to the national parks. I camp
Yeah.
here, I camp there. Anyway, but then when I had to come to Sydney and build the shop, I said, what
Yeah.
the fuck? Where is that guy? You know, I'm investing, I'm doing all the work here, hands on. Where is the guy? Not even money he's putting in this fucking thing, you know? And
Yeah.
one thing that I also realized when I was in China, I stayed there for 3.5 months,
Yeah.
going to the factory, designing it on AutoCAD 2D because it was the only thing that was able to run on my laptop.
Yeah.
Uh, so I designed this entire bike on AutoCAD 2D and more. The bike got approved twice on the
Yeah.
ISO 4210. So
Okay.
man, the bike's bulletproof. But over there, I wanted to study Mandarin. I wanted to study Mandarin, and
Okay.
that was one of my goals. And that guy was, no, 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 you just focus on the bike, don't go to study. Why? Because if I study and I learn the language, then I don't need him. You get what I mean? How? So my first point here is, don't let people manipulate you. Don't let people manipulate you. Always
But
look.
you think that you can run your business, everything, all different areas, all different sectors, everything by yourself?
No, you have to delegate. You have to be
Exactly.
clear on the. But for example, I'm doing everything. And when I ask, hey, we need to call these suppliers to get their price, you know, and we have to have it written on an Excel spreadsheet because we have to have the final cost of the bike. Can you do it? And the guy said, no, 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 this is not important. The important thing is you to finish the design of the frame.
That's
Without
that's
frame, we don't have bike. And I'm saying, man, I'm
exactly.
doing the design. I'm doing the design. I'm interviewing and more. Leandro, when I was in China, I had
Yeah.
21 rental bikes,
Yeah.
13 beds in 2 student accommodations, and one rental car.
Okay.
At the same time that I was taking the metro every day, going to the outskirts of Shenzhen, stay at the factory for 12 hours, then returning on the metro.
Okay.
And what business the guy was doing? Nothing. He didn't have any business. It was putting one woman against the other, traveling the city.
Wow.
Like, so my
Business
point here,
problems.
problems, business problems. Don't let people manipulate you, man. You have to be very clear on your goals and you go. And if I was smart enough, in the past I would have split because I came to them many points, many times in China. And I said, bro, if you don't invest money, it's over. Because I'm working here, I have a heartache because I'm putting 100,000% of myself into this all my time. I'm not going on dates. I'm not getting high. I'm just working and designing the frame. And I need you to quote these companies. I need you to have like where's the website? Where's the marketing material? Where's the thing? No, everything on me. So was great being in China. If you have a product, if you provide a service, and the service like in Australia, we rely in imports. We don't manufacture anything here. Rarely we manufacture things. So we rely in China 100%. So my obligation as an engineer with an objective. Like I have a bicycle shop, but our bicycle shop is CyberBikes. So we sell CyberBikes and we convert bicycles as well. So we build them here and we repair all other brands. But we are a brand of electric bikes. That's what makes us different from other bicycle shops. And
Interesting.
it's my obligation to be at the factory floor. And where's the factory floor? It's China. Man, I will eat Chinese food. I have to speak Mandarin. I have to be with the Chinese. I have to understand their culture, drink tea with them, go out for dinner. That's my obligation. So going to China was great. It improved my business knowledge so much. I had papers with the drawings and specifications of the bike. I went
Okay.
on a business meeting, you know,
Yeah.
gave the papers, thinking that we would close the deal, you know,
Okay.
that
Yeah.
a dinner, you know, business meeting, a dinner meeting, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
after staying at the factory for 10, 12 hours.
Yeah.
The following day, when they already had my papers, they sent me the proposal, you know,
Okay.
which was completely, it was like terrible for my company, for my business, and only beneficial to them. Why? Because they already had the papers.
Yeah, you
But
wouldn't know whether it was gonna be good or bad if you had not been there.
if I didn't give them the papers, they would come with a good proposal. But because
Yeah.
they already had the papers, they came with a very bad proposal. And
Okay.
more, they manufacture a bike similar to mine, and they sold over 100 units so far. And
Yeah.
they got a prize in the best YouTube channels, the most well-known YouTube channels, as the top 10 bikes of the year. But it was
Yeah.
my design that, like I, foreigner, went to
So
their
they
factory, gave the papers, you know, like super naive. And that really happened. And you
so
think
they
it's
stole your idea.
they stole my idea. But who is at fault? I am at
Yours.
fault.
Yeah, because
I
you
am
were
at fault.
naive.
I were naive. And those things happen all the time. Those things happen all the time. Like
Yeah,
I
next
just
time you talk to lawyers who understand about
and the thing
this
is,
topic.
my personality is I try to be very conscious what I'm doing. Because of that, I'm very aware of my mistakes, or
Yeah.
I not all of them, but I. So if someone comes and says that something is wrong, first thing in my mind is it's my fault,
Okay.
uh, and which is bad. Sometimes it's their fault and they're blaming on you. But
Yeah.
I always think it's my fault because Jordan Peterson,
It's ownership.
he
You.
he talks about it, this type of personality. I don't know, he's self-conscious, you know, whatever. But the thing is, I don't
Well,
mind
other public
speaking.
speakers they also talk about the same thing: the importance of owning the mistakes, of getting it and just solving it on your own.
Yeah, like I don't mind talking about when I do bad. You know, I think sometimes I
You laugh
even
and
told
then you
someone,
learn and then you do it better.
yeah, I think like here on this podcast, I could be saying, man, I'm the best. CyberBikes is the best. I'm this. I'm that. I'm this.
But
Man,
you know that's not true, and you're
I'm
doing your
talking
best
all
to
thoughts
compete
and
in the
things that
market.
happened. You know, like man,
Yeah,
it's life hits hard. You
I
know,
know. I know.
and more like this guy who went with me there in Goodwill and stuff, and we were not compatible, you know, in terms
Compatible,
of
yeah.
running the business, you
Okay.
know, and it took lots of time for me to understand it, and more and worse when someone has a personality that, because you know, look, you are working with someone, Leandro,
Yeah.
that tells you, I'm great at playing with people's mind.
Okay.
I'm great. My best skill is playing with people's mind.
The
You
guy
know,
told you that?
many times. But when you
Okay.
are in his team, you look at that as an advantage.
Okay.
But as soon as you flip the coin,
Yeah.
then you're gonna see it's against you. and it has been against me, like uh, making me feel guilty for saying no to him. You know, man, if the person is not investing in the company. They do the work when they want, where they want. They are telling you where to go, what to do. But I'm always doing, and he is just like, you know,
Yeah.
that
Well,
doesn't write anything on a paper. You know, doesn't document anything. And so,
so
man,
he doesn't work more. He doesn't work with you anymore, does he?
anymore. You know,
Good
so
job. Good
good
job. So
job.
you mentioned about Excel, right? I just mention something here about Excel spreadsheets for all of my audience, all of my listeners. If you are into finance, into business, into engineering, you probably know the importance of Excel. And I have a full Excel course for free on my YouTube channel where you learn how to analyze data and create dashboards. And with a few clicks, you will see all the data and graphs changing where you can analyze the most important KPIs to make decisions, right? So if you are learning Excel right now, if you already know, just go to my YouTube channel. The course is there, it's for free, and I hope you enjoy it. Felipe, moving on, I want to go briefly into marketing, right? And I want you to tell us what the value that you got in an event that you went in Sydney. An event that I also went here in Melbourne with a brilliant guy who built his empire from scratch. The guy was Gary Vee. He came to Australia and he gave us a tonnage of knowledge in his event. And how did it help you? What did you bring from there, from his event to your business and to your personal life?
Uh, going attending the event was very important because not only Gary Vee was there, but he brought other five speakers,
Yeah.
and some of them uh, came hit me with a very powerful message. You know, I wrote some things down, like I wrote a lot during the event. You know, I don't know
Yeah.
if you guys look. I wrote a
Yeah.
lot, a lot, a lot. You know,
Yeah. We can see it.
I'm gonna just say some passages here.
Okay.
Uh, let's see if I lucky it's not live.
It will be soon.
Oh, this and by coincidence, the name of the speaker is Philip.
Okay.
Okay. Uh, Knowledge acquisition without application is the entrepreneur's procrastination.
Okay.
So we are an entrepreneur. Me, you. Sometimes we have the answers. We know what we have to do, but
But
we
we
are
don't do it.
constantly looking for new knowledge just to say, hey, I'm not doing the thing that I have to do, but I'm studying. I'm
Yeah.
learning a new thing.
You need to put the
Bro,
information out there.
if you if you learn something and you don't implement it, is equivalent to not knowing.
Exactly. That's
Oh,
not what you know, it's what you do with what you know.
you know sugar is bad for you. You know, eating sugary food, there are sessions on the supermarket that are completely crap food, industrialized material. It's not even considered food.
Yeah.
You know that thing is bad for you. Why you don't apply it to your life?
Yeah.
Right. Is equivalent to not knowing.
Yeah.
So I realized that I was always looking for a new course or studying Bitcoin or studying new other things, while what I have to do, I'm not doing. So knowledge
Applying.
acquisition, learning a new thing is the entrepreneur's procrastination.
It's a
You
trap.
know, it's a trap. You learned marketing, bro. Go execute that marketing plan, hammer it. You know, once it's
Yeah.
running and bringing results, you learn a new skill.
Yeah.
So at the same time that Gary Vee was very had a very powerful message, and many of the speakers, for example, Philip as well, he said, "Do now what can only be done now. You have to do now what can only be done now. You know, why are you
Yeah.
gonna do task Z if what can only be done now is task B? You
Or
know,
A sometimes.
now if I'm on the workshop, I have to work on the bikes on the workshop. I can't be on the computer answering emails.
Yeah,
You
you're
get what I
just
mean?
gonna waste time.
It's workshop. I have to work on the workshop. Emails I can do anywhere else. You
Yeah.
know, so those small things they start to build a certain professional behavior towards the entrepreneur. Like
Yeah.
one of the reasons why I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a person that I go against the rules. I like to break the rules. If they don't make sense, I go against them.
I hope you
And
have really good lawyers.
yeah, recently I had to use some lawyers. Um, but the thing is, like even the lawyers, they thanked me at the end. We won the case.
Okay.
We had the case dismissed, which is a
Okay.
win because we were being accused.
Okay.
Um, but they like that because I go through, and everything that the lawyer presented to the judge were the objections that I put her. I fed that to her, you
Okay.
know, and we
You
won
gave
the
them the
case.
information and then they went in
Yeah,
your
I said,
behalf.
man, how come this happened if that happened? If I was just gonna obey, just obey, then
Yeah.
I would be screwed.
Okay.
So, but in reality, for example, Gary Vee, he's an
Yep.
entrepreneur, and we
He is.
went to his event.
There is
Is
one thing
small
about
business.
him, right? I will just interrupt you for a little bit. There is one thing about him that if you read his books and it brings value to anybody who is beginning something or who wants to begin something. By the age of 30, he began his YouTube channel, right? And from 30 to 34, he was posting content on YouTube and he had nobody watching him. So for 4 years, and he says this on Jab, 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 Right Hook, and also on his first book that was Crush It, right? If you read Crush It, you will know a little bit more about him. He was also an immigrant. Well, his parents, they were
Family, yeah.
immigrants, and for 4 years he had no income out of the business that he was building, which was he was actually building equity for media. So he was posting content on now social media platforms, and after 4 years he just received an invitation from a television program, and he could go there and give his speech about wines, which was his parents' products. And
Yeah,
he also
yeah.
increased his the revenue of the business from a couple of $1,000 to close to 20 to 25 millions, if I'm not wrong. The information is in the book. If you haven't read Crush It and Jab, 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 Right Hook, I strongly recommend you to read it. I will leave the link in this episode, and you can just buy the books in Amazon. So, in one sentence, Felipe, what did you learn with Gary?
I
The most
learned to be
valuable
I
information.
learned to be persistent and to be truthful to my will. For example, we started the podcast saying that I wanted to build an electric car, and the teachers at uni, only one teacher, and the teacher that said yes was a Japanese Brazilian guy.
Okay,
That you know what he does?
but
He gets old washing machines,
yeah,
rewire them,
and so
go to islands, find water streams,
yeah,
install those washing machines as uh, uh, electric electric generators, and
yeah,
start powering small indigenous communities that
yeah,
live in faraway places. Man, that professor is awesome, man. His surname is Kawano. Man, look at this guy, man. He brings electricity to people that have no electricity. And that's the guy that was in favor of electric vehicles. What were the other professors? Just working in the GM, uh, uh, Volvo, Mercedes, Scania. The other professors were just engineers, career engineers. They were just like, yeah, and I'm professor here at uni. While the other was professor at uni, but in his free time, he was bringing electricity to people in remote communities. Man,
Yeah.
that to me has a way higher value than being an industry guy.
Okay.
I should have followed that. I should have punched through and say, no, I'm going to build the electric vehicle. I'm going to build the electric vehicle. No, because I'm going to build the electric vehicle. I'm going to build the electric vehicle. I'm going to build the electric vehicle. I'm going to, you start saying it on repeat that people around you, they cannot, and I'm
Are
not saying
you are you 33 now?
I'm
30,
33 now.
33
10,
now. So
10 years
look,
ago, 11
look,
years ago.
if you want to start an electric vehicle business right now, you can. You are still young and you
I,
still
I,
have
have,
time.
I have an electric vehicle business.
No, I mean
CyberBikes.
cars. Cars. I mean cars. You were just talking about cars.
Yeah, but cars, I don't think cars are their answer
Okay.
because, man, it doesn't make sense to.
You were
I have
just saying that you should have followed your dream of building cars, and
no
I'm just saying
dream
that you
of
still
building
have
cars
time.
because at that time, 11 years ago, I
Yeah.
thought electric cars were the answer.
And now they are just on the
Now
road.
I think small electric vehicles, not
Hmm.
vehicles as cars, but vehicles as something that, like a lift is a vehicle, you
It
know.
is, yeah.
It's so and for example, mobile phones are electric, or computers are electric. The lifts in the buildings, they are all electric. The TV is
Oh,
electric. All
you
the
have a few hydraulic lifts as well. Not really used in Australia, but they used few in.
hydraulic lifts, but how are they powered? Electric motors.
Yeah,
Yeah. So everything around us is electric. The only thing that takes us from A to B is petrol. Why? Because when you turn on the TVs, buy a new car, finance this car, buy a new truck. Anyway,
of
the
course
point.
they have to sell their fish.
Yeah, but what happens is those companies, they have more power than countries around the world. They have more
Okay.
money than countries. And so they pay the politicians to legislate. Now I would like to enjoy the hook and throw my 2 cents in, because
Okay.
electric bikes, they have a limitation in power and top speed.
Yeah.
However, any person with money or with access to money,
Yeah.
like financing, they
Yeah.
can buy a car or a motorbike that clocks 300 kilometers an hour.
Yeah.
And that vehicle has no speed limit and has no power limitation. So you are in the city where the speed limit is usually 40 or 50 kilometers an hour. And people are driving cars and motorbikes that clock 300 kilometers an hour. If that person is mad with life and is in a bad mood, they can throttle all the way down and the car will simply go. And there is no speed limit. And nobody talks about it. That's why we go on YouTube and there are people crashing cars every day, sports cars. Those cars should be prohibited. Why don't they put a speed limit on the cars? Because that will kill an industry. But wait, I'm making cars that clock 300 kilometers an hour to drive on roads that maximum here in Australia is 110. Maybe in Brazil, maximum is 130, depending on the motorway. All right, what happened to the other 170 kilometers or 190 kilometers extra that car can give? So you're just giving the idea that people can speed, isn't it? Like, if the road is 110 and you're manufacturing cars that clock 300, 300 is nothing today. Cars that clock almost 400. Why, there's no speed limit on the car? Or why are those cars allowed to be sold? That means that when they are on the road and there's no radar, they can go 400.
So
So
you
better.
think that the cars should only be allowed to have until 150 kilometers an hour, and that's it?
maximum, which is in case of overtaking. Because
Okay.
if the entire country is 110, where that person gonna deliver 300 inside of a racetrack? That's cool. So you have a car for a racetrack, because it doesn't make sense to drive a Ferrari in the city. It
Okay.
doesn't make sense to drive a car that weighs 2,000 kilos just to take you from work and back. And that car is capable of doing 300 k's an hour if maximum on the road is 60. You get what I mean? So, and why that happens? Because the automotive industry is so strong in terms of power that they
Yeah.
pay our politicians. Bro, our cities are
Look,
getting
Philip, I don't want to get into this matter, right? Politics, police. I don't want to talk about this here. I want to
politics.
talk more about, yeah, I don't
I,
want to talk about
I
this.
said, man, this is what happened, man.
Look,
Automotive industry.
I want you to tell us one more thing about the marketing, right? Do you use Google Ads and Facebook ads to help your business, and how does it help your business?
Man, I use them. I use Google ads and Facebook ads. But before you start doing those ads, you have to have a clear view that your company might be a small company. And the way you're going to behave is different than Coca-Cola, Adidas, Nike. It's a different marketing behavior.
Well, Coca-Cola sold one can of Coke in the first year. You had almost, I don't know, 20 e-bikes, so you were doing pretty well.
The thing is, what we learned from Gary Vee is to pursue, like punch through. I'm gonna have a brand of electric bikes. I'm gonna have a brand of electric bikes. Oh, but you won't do this. It's very difficult. I'm gonna have a brand of electric bikes. I'm gonna have, I start saying that, and you start going through. If you fail with your mindset, and that's the best thing you could do. The problem
Yeah,
is when you are manipulated and people start steering you from your. I'm not saying that if someone comes here and present an idea, I will ignore, I will treat bad, I will say you are not good enough. No, I write down the idea, and if it matches with what I'm thinking, I'm gonna punch it through. So in terms of marketing,
yeah.
it's important to develop what I call, and I do recommend, one-page marketing plan.
The landing page? Oh,
Yeah,
hey page marketing plan. Okay, yeah. Hey page
one page
like
marketing
marketing plan.
plan.
Yeah.
This is a book from Alan Dibb. So
Mm,
this is the template, and I have the
mm,
marketing plan filled up here.
okay.
So it has my target market over there.
Mm,
It has my message to my target market. It has the medias that I'm gonna use to reach that target market. It has the way I'm gonna capture the leads. It has the way that I'm gonna nurture the leads. It has the way that I'm gonna set up my sales strategy, how I will deliver a world-class experience. Even you being a small company, you can make people delighted with the service.
you can. Well,
How to
Coca-Cola,
increase.
as you mentioned, they were small when they began.
Oh, like even when you were laughing and thinking that's cool that I was working from my apartment and stuff. Bill Gates,
Well,
Steve Jobs, they
Zuckerberg
were
was
all
working in his
from
room.
their garage. From their garage. And if I was living in a house instead of an apartment, I would start from my garage as well.
Yeah.
We all did that. Elon Musk started from an office. He was living in the
Yeah, he
office.
was living and working in his apartment. Well, a
So
small room.
in the marketing, because I'm saying it here, like I'm a mechanical engineer. In Australia, I studied marketing to maintain my student visa until I could immigrate as a proper professional
Yeah,
engineer.
yeah,
But uh, it's important to apply the market concepts. And I jumped so many steps, and I end up losing money because I just poured money through Facebook, Google ads, without properly understanding who was my target market, the message I wanted to deliver to them, what's the artwork, how I'm going to present the artwork, um, or try to vary the medias or capture the leads. I haven't done that properly. So right now at this stage, I finished reading for the second time one page marketing plan from Alan Deeb, which is an Australian guy.
Okay.
I wrote my one page marketing plan now,
Yeah.
and now I'm gonna get back into doing my ads on Google Ads and Facebook. And
Yeah.
each platform, they have a different response. You cannot
Exactly.
to use them for the same thing. My understanding is people searching on Google, they are ready to buy.
Yeah, they are
If
at the bottom of the funnel, right? They want to buy right now.
they pull they are down a few steps, ready to for a conversion. While on
Yeah.
Facebook, it's more
They are at the
nurturing.
top funnel, so they are still researching. Sometimes they don't even know what they want, and you need to show them what you have and that you can help them with your service or product.
And more like I have personally invested in my website and marketing about maybe more or less $50,000. You
50K
know what?
and
50K Australian dollars. You know
yeah,
what
and
that
how much?
means?
Yeah.
Big mistake. Yeah, and back to business mistakes, man. I entered in a because if you talk about bikes, bikes are a physical product. I
Yeah.
can clearly understand it. When you talk about website and e-commerce platforms, is a new sphere for me to understand. And
Okay.
I have been taken on a path
Yeah.
in which if you have a great website, you're gonna sell a lot. And this is not the truth.
No, it involves way more things, and people. There are actually many people working behind that website, right? Not only people who are doing marketing, but you also have a team of developers who are building more tools to give the customer a better customer service and for them to navigate and do things faster. So you can't think that you are going to build a website today and then you're going to be selling thousands of dollars or millions of dollars tomorrow. Because if you just look at the biggest, one of the biggest, yeah, the biggest company of retail today, which is Amazon, the CEO of Amazon, he also began in a partition of his house, which was probably one of his rooms. And when he was selling books back there, he was actually delivering the books himself. And he had to work a lot in his website to be able to get a few sales in the beginning. So don't think that
Yes.
your website will be selling thousands of bikes tomorrow.
And what was my mistake? The developers were seeing the money because they put, oh, your website will cost $22,000.
Yeah,
And in okay, $22,000. So I'm getting the Apple website.
yeah,
And websites are a continuous working process. You
yeah,
improve day after day. But
exactly.
they were seeing that money and say, you're gonna sell so much, man. You're gonna sell so much. Your website's gonna be great. You're gonna sell so much. You're gonna sell so much. Never spoke about numbers, but
Yeah,
they were always like, you're gonna sell so much. And in reality, I should have invested maybe 5,000 on the website,
yeah,
and the rest of the money I should have invested in marketing campaigns to bring people to the website. And as sales were appearing, I would invest more on the website.
yeah. Well, you can
What
also
happened?
invest in SEO. It's gonna help you a lot.
SEO. So the thing is, they were a marketing agency. This
Yeah,
was another mistake of mine.
yeah,
Imagine you are a civil engineer
yeah,
and I'm the government. I need to
yeah,
build a bridge. And
yeah,
I just met you and you have a small company. You don't have a big construction company. And I end up hiring a small company thinking that you are big because you made a good advertisement to me. I didn't audit the facts.
yeah.
And after I signed the contract and I gave money into your hand, is that I realized that you are a fucking startup.
Right.
And that happened to me.
So do your research properly.
do your research properly when you hire someone to do a job. And what
Okay.
happened to me after I handled the money without having a time frame to have the job delivered?
Yeah.
Another mistake, and it was in
Yeah.
the contract. And I realized that I was working with a startup, and the tools that I asked to have it implemented on the website, that's why it was costing $22,000. They didn't have the capacity to deliver, so
Yeah.
they were learning as they do, and they were making many mistakes, and it was delaying more and more and more the delivery of the website. So I lost my previous website, thinking that I would have a new website coming. So I lost lots of sales, leads. Took 2 years to finish the website. The website was crap. It was a big headache to me because every time I had, man, this is not according. Look at the contract, look at the scope. You know, they say, oh, we have exhausted our resources. Bro, you are exhausted because you are a startup and you didn't know how to do it. And you sold yourself like, we don't work with startups like you, Felipe, but we are opening a courtesy, for you to work with us because we are so good, you know. And then
Yeah.
when I realized I could not even find the guys on Google. Imagine a marketing company selling themselves, charging
And they're not
$22,000,
and they're not on
and
Google.
you couldn't find them on Google. After I signed the contract and I started making the first payments, that they appeared on Google. So
Yeah.
basically, they were a startup, and I financed them to start. Look at that,
Good
because
job, they did, huh?
all the material they were, and me with so many tasks to do,
Yeah.
I thought I was doing right because I wasn't. They were giving me their marketing material, and I was
Yeah.
checking just their marketing material and the jobs they
Okay.
had done before.
Okay.
But I was not checking the true facts when they're opening the company, when they open the company, calling to see if their job was properly executed,
Yeah.
calling
Yeah.
other customers. Okay, give me 5 customers of yours,
Yeah.
I
So
didn't do my due diligence. So in the end, I start trapped with a company. And just what I'm saying here
yeah.
is, uh, if I go on Google and I check their Google reviews, now they are losing Google reviews.
Okay.
So that to me means people that before wrote a Google review to them start to remove their reviews.
Okay.
Get what I mean?
Yeah.
So that proves even further that they are doing a bad job. Like I see my reviews growing. Rarely I lose a review. Rarely, and I see my reviews growing. I haven't seen the reviews growing for 2 years since we
Okay.
stopped work.
So they're
And
not
I
doing
saw
well.
dropping. So man, they are scammers, and I fell in the trap. What can I do? I'm 22,000 out of pocket. I'm on a website that if I update, the website freezes. That if I if I if I want to write my mobile phone number on top of the website, I have to pay a developer to do that for me because they coded everything. So every
Okay.
time that I need something new, I have to pay $165 an hour.
Yeah.
And making the mistakes, it hurts. Oh, I'm so dumb. Oh man, how come I did that? I'm so fucked up. Blah, 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 blah. But bro, this is the thing of being an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
This is the thing. How many big deals? I just got a video from Instagram that when Jeff Bezos uh, tried to acquire a company,
Yeah.
he brought the guys to a building where they didn't have mobile phone connection. At the
Okay.
same time, the directors were in that building thinking they were negotiating. Jeff Bezos was launching a campaign to take their company out of the market. Get what I mean?
Yeah.
So business is cruel. Business is cruel. Imagine those CEOs, those CFOs, whatever, man, how they were feeling. Oh man, we got trapped in this thing, man. And people make mistakes all the time, but
They
they don't
do.
like to put their mistakes in social media live. They like to give a good image of themselves every time, and I'm tired of that. Man, I want war. I want
Yeah.
war. I like.
You mean you are hungry. You want to make it happen.
Yeah, I want war. Like, I want to be in peace with myself and do the things that I truly think
Believe.
are right.
Yeah.
I didn't say believe. I didn't say I feel. I'm saying I think, man. I'm doing the things that I think are right, you know, and
Yeah.
and
And you are
you
learning
know,
by doing, which is the best thing. But
learning
it
by
can be
doing.
expensive sometimes.
But for example, I went to the conference, Gary
Yeah.
V.
Yeah.
I wrote a lot, like
Yeah.
as the speakers were passing by, I wrote a lot, and you do the
Yeah.
same. I
I
know you.
did.
I know you
I
study
did.
a lot. And when I was working my first bike shop business,
Yeah.
when I was working for that shop that gave me the first employment, many times the owner was saying, "Nobody knows better than me how to run my business."
Yeah.
Man, that's fucking arrogant. I think I don't do that. I go to Gary V, I get the book, I even
Yeah.
wrote to the author of the book and we are exchanging emails.
Well,
You
I know
know,
that you follow entrepreneurship and you follow people who are doing way better than you. And you are mentioning about Jeff Bezos, and you also mentioned about Elon Musk, and we talked a
Musk,
little bit about Zuckerberg, and all of them. They have people who do better jobs in different areas than they do, working for them. So if you actually want to do well, you need to have people smarter than you working for you, and
absolute people smarter than you and doing better than you in certain tasks. The
exactly.
thing is,
If you just look at, I will comment this because I was just reading about this a while ago. If you go, if you just go back in time and see when who founded Apple?
o, he died.
Yeah, he did.
Steve Jobs.
Steve Jobs, exactly. So Steve Jobs, he hired a really good programmer to work for him back then, and the programmer was nothing, nobody else but Bill Gates. And if you see the deployment of Bill Gates on Netflix, you will see that he learned a lot with Steve Jobs, and he also had ideas that Steve Jobs did not want to use. And then Bill Gates just found his company, which is one of the biggest companies around
In
the
the
world,
world.
and he
Microsoft.
used the exactly Microsoft, and he used the ideas that the owner of Apple did not want to use. Um, so yeah, you just did the same with your business.
Ah, Leandro, the thing is, right now, after putting so much, after when you make an investment, you get a return. When
Not always. Some people they lose money when they invest into something.
when that return is not monetary and you learn, it's still an investment,
Yeah,
even though it can sometimes cross the border from investing to spending or losing.
yeah,
Okay, so I made mistakes that cost me lots of money.
yeah.
The advantage is that CyberBikes has a slave, which is Felipe, and
Yeah,
Felipe
you're doing
works for
everything.
CyberBikes non-stop. So the loss that CyberBikes had, Felipe compensates. On a big company, maybe that mistake could be fatal. The company could go bankrupt.
Yeah,
And it
could.
happens. I had a friend, he was on a sponsorship. The company got bankrupt. He had to go. You know.
Okay. Yeah,
So uh, my mistake didn't cost my head, didn't cost the business. Okay, so I still above the water, and I think I'm gonna survive. My problem now is that I need sales to build revenue to start hiring people and delegating the tasks.
yeah,
I understood that my function in this business goes beyond meeting customers and making the sale,
It, ca-
and
it
fixing their problem. I meet customers and I fix their problems. That's how I get compensated with money. But my function is to develop the systems that will run CyberBikes.
exactly. Well, you need to
This
have somebody who will do a better commercial work than you, because you need to be in the core of the business, in the technical work.
like I could, if I have money to invest, but as I said, I made many mistakes, and the money
It's
gone.
gone.
So now I have to run lean, and this is actually a great thing, because as you said before, I'm being accountable. We have to be accountable. I'm being accountable for my errors, my mistakes. Now I'm going to restart again. Nobody to blame. Oh, I went to China with someone that, man, was how do you call someone that use credit cards that are in name of someone else?
Oh, I don't know. That guy was
Okay.
a problem, probably.
Yeah, you know, and I don't know, but how I'm going to start a company with someone that is like that? You
Yeah,
know, and I didn't know, and I was, but who is at fault? Me,
yours.
myself. You know, I hired a marketing company that was pushing me. Oh, your website's gonna sell so much, man. If they were professional and they understood about marketing, they would have, okay, you have 20,000, 22,000 to invest. Let's put 5, 10 maximum on the website, and the rest will be, uh, let's say, on the go as the sales happen, or like uh, um bringing people to the website, generating sales, because you know the website, it as itself is nothing. It's just a piece of trash floating in the ocean, you know.
Exactly.
So
If you do not do a good SEO, a inbound marketing, if you do not, or if you do not do your campaigns really well, if you do not target your public, your audience really well, you will not, like, the website's nothing. The secret of a good marketing is actually behind the website.
behind the website and more, Leandro, I'm a business owner and you are a business owner too. We are both engineers, very technical in the knowledge, in designing the bikes, in building, in concrete, you know. However, as business owners, we have to flip the switch and become a good marketer. It's our duty to be a good marketer if we want to be business owners on the head of the company, unless we have someone that can run that side, and then we go to the technical area if we like it.
Well, Gary
But
Vee, he began doing the marketing by himself, but today he has a big team working for him, and like, they do everything. He doesn't run Google ads and Facebook ads right now, but
who
he
began?
said in all his books, he said that when he began, he was running everything by himself, and he was going on Twitter and answering every single comment from any person that was publishing anything on YouTube, Twitter, back then on
Leandro,
Instagram.
what do you think that I do? What do you think that I do?
Yeah, you
I
were
have a
doing
few
this.
I have a few contractors that do the artworks, people that record the videos for me, you know, do
Yeah.
the video editing. But if you go to our YouTube channel, which I put um, CyberBikes AU, bro, I have answered every single comment of over 70 videos.
Yeah.
And there are videos with over 40,000 views, and everything organic, nothing paid. We have 1,700 subscribers organically, and we started December 2021.
Good
So
job.
it's 2 years organically, and I
17,002 years.
put more content. You know, uh, the thing is, we are trying, and there are many things that's trial and error. There's no formula in any book that will say if you do this, it's going to be guaranteed.
Yeah.
You have to test the artwork, the copyright. You have to test your offer. If your offer is not good enough, people will not come. If
Yeah.
your price for the product you offer is not competitive, people will not come as well. You know,
Yeah.
and this is a challenge. And I can tell you, I prefer to be where I am, doing the things that I am, even though sometimes I feel down, even sometimes I struggle,
Yeah.
than being on a company working for a purpose that I don't agree.
Well, but you can find a job that you like the company's values, you like what the company do. It's like it's gonna bring a lot of value to you as a person and as a professional.
I know it adds a value. You know, I understand that it could be very beneficial. It's just that today in the market now, I want to work with micromobility and this type of electric vehicles. And I have an orgasm every time that I think about designing and building and bringing a new bike to the market.
Okay.
If I can do that in another company, great. If I can't do that, I will continue with CyberBikes as I am because I'm happy here, and I
Yeah.
want this company to succeed. By the way,
Yeah.
CyberBikes now is in Brazil, and
Okay.
our container is leaving now, end
Oh,
of
nice.
October.
Wow.
So, and in Brazil, we are six. It's me and other six, another five guys.
Okay.
Four of them. So we are six in total. Five of us, we are engineers,
Okay.
and we are bringing a great product at an affordable price.
To
And
Brazil.
we're
So
gonna come.
now I have a question to you, right? Because if you look at the criminal rate in Australia and in Brazil, you will see that people steal way more things in Brazil than here where we are. And the police back there, they have way more problems to deal with rather than bicycles. How are you thinking of overcome the challenge of robbery?
Insurance. One, insurance. Two, GPS tracking. So insurance companies, we already have the partnership because, as I said, we were saying if you have people working on the company, things start to like qualified people working on the company. Things start to build up volume and things start to work and progress.
Yeah.
Those guys, they are not only investors, but they are also working on the company.
Okay.
So we have a big workforce of qualified people, and they have
Nice.
already set the partnership with the insurance companies to sell our bikes with insurance. And I did the development of the GPS tracker, and we already have one tracker in Brazil already running.
Okay.
So we're gonna bring the GPS trackers as well. More, Apple offers the AirTag. Other companies offer other tags. So we have the tools to track and trace the vehicles today, which in the
Okay.
past we didn't have. However, in Brazil, my experience with the police there, I'm not saying they are the awesome. I'm not saying they are bad. I'm not saying anything. I just think they are more prepared for malicious situations, and they are keen to maybe recover. Like one of the reasons why I'm in Australia was because of the violence.
Yeah.
In 10 months, I had a gun pointed to my back and they stole my car. But then my car was found by the police.
Okay.
And another time, I had a bicycle stolen, like robbed, assaulted. I got assaulted. But I fucking bashed the robber, you know.
Yeah.
But
Well,
I got
I also had my motorbike stolen back there, and they never
uh,
found it.
they never found it, but it's easy to disappear with a motorbike. They're so quick, you know.
Yeah.
But here in Australia, with less crime per capita, and the crimes are not as violent as in Brazil or as dangerous, like maybe a few spots in Sydney, the police would be cautious about going there. You know, it's not like Brazil that those areas they know if they enter, they're gonna be received with assault rifles. You know what I mean?
Man, there are people
Uh,
stealing houses in Sydney right now. If you watch the news, you see that
robbing.
it's not as many as if you go to South America, but people do steal houses in Sydney, in Melbourne, Queensland, And some people, they don't have guns, but they have knives. And well, what can you say?
I recovered quite a few bikes myself.
Yeah.
This recent bike that got stolen, the boys recovered the bikes themselves. So the police could have done what they did, but they refused to do. And what I realized, those people that are in power, they are very good with their words. So they can defuse you just with their words. They
Well,
can
having
prevent.
a clear communication is important in any part of
In,
your life.
yes, especially like in sales, or to bring trust to the, like I don't want to collect cash from anybody if my product is not being useful to them. I had a lady that came here. She called. She came to the shop. She tested bike. I brought another model. I made. In the end, you know what the problem she had?
Yeah.
She didn't know how to cycle.
She didn't know how to cycle.
Testing bikes at the shop was great, jumping on the bikes and doing the pose and so I said, I think we have to go for a test ride. And she wanted to buy the bike before riding,
Yeah.
but I wasn't sure. She was said, let's go for a test ride. And then I realized that she did not know how to ride the bike.
And then you had to
And
teach her.
not only I tried to teach her, but in the end, I said, look, for you to buy this bike, I think you have to learn to ride first. And I didn't make the sale. Maybe I was naive. Maybe I should think about my rent first, paying the rent, paying the expenses, paying. However, would be worse if this lady, not knowing how to ride, jumps on this bike and have a fucking crash out there and blame my bike. Like she came before blaming her previous bike while she was falling.
Yeah.
And she said, I need to buy a new bike because my bike's difficult to ride. And I saw pictures of her bike and said, yeah, this bike will be easier. It's lower. The wheels are smaller. But the
Yeah.
problem was, you know,
Right. Felipe, we've been here for almost 2 hours now. I would like to go to the end of this episode. And before giving my words, I would like you to, you know, out of everything that you have learned, out of all of your mistakes, losing money and going to people's house to get the bikes, spending money on companies that were not so great. What would you say for my listeners out there that are trying to build something, or they are actually working for companies, but they are also hustling?
my points are: be very technical, be extremely technical. Doesn't matter what your degree is. What matters is how technical you can be on something that you like. Be technical, understand intrinsically how that thing works. Second, punch through, go through. You like that, you have technical knowledge. As I said, the verb believe, the verb feeling, if they were the same
You,
thing, you would use the same verb,
yeah,
but each verb is an action. So you have to use the right verb. All the time I'm saying thinking, I think. Doesn't matter how I feel. I feel like going outside, staying on my swimmers and going to the beach.
okay,
That's how I feel.
okay,
I believe life is outside of the earth. Doesn't matter all the religious books. uh, Life is outside the earth.
yeah.
How I
Do
feel.
you
I have
do you
worked
work on holidays and weekends as well?
6 days a week. I'm off. So today's Sunday. I'm off on Mondays,
Yeah,
but I'm always working. If I can do something on Monday that I
yeah.
know, like all the time I look there because there are people passing in front of the shop, and
Okay,
I flip the signage. So it's saying that we are closed. But on Google, I'm open. So I know if
okay,
someone comes and walks into the shop is because they saw us on Google.
okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But So if I'm on Monday and the shop's closed and I can do something that I don't have to worry about people coming in and interrupting me, I will do, because I know that will help me in the next day. So in the end,
Right.
I'm working 7 days a week.
Okay.
So uh, let's put this: be technical, okay?
One, yeah.
We are, Leandro and I, we are engineers, but we are both going to marketing, and we're generating content to social media in all spheres, because we are learning other tools. So we are not I'm an engineer, I only know technical stuff. BS. You have to be a multiverse person, okay? But be technical. Like, we are going deep into marketing more and more.
Well, Jeff Bezos bought hundreds of thousands of marketing books when he decided to open Amazon, and he was the one who began the marketing uh, sector in his company.
Yeah, and Steve Jobs was a great salesman.
Well, that guy was the best salesperson on earth.
Yes. So, which came first, the company or sales? Sales. Sales lead into money. Money, you can
Pay the bills.
generate, you can delegate tasks, put people to work, which can then generate more sales, and so on. So, be technical. Second, punch through. Punch through. If you think that goes over believing and feeling, if you think that's the right thing, man, punch through, say the thing 100 times. Oh, but this is difficult. Man, say the thing 100 times. How many people in my family told me that I wouldn't make it, that I wouldn't, that I would go back to Brazil and not be in Australia? How many people I know told me not to do? You know what you do? Don't listen to them. If they never been where you want to be, don't listen to them.
Don't listen to
and,
them.
and, and start using the right verb. The verb is to think, pensar. The verb is not I believe, I feel. People use the wrong verb when they are talking about themselves and things they have to do. Use I think, I think. Use your rational male, use your rational female instincts. But think. I have to push through. I think I have to be technical on marketing. I have to clearly create, let's say, job posts inside of the company, and then I will delegate them. Boom, 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 boom. You know, and CyberBikes
Thirdly,
come to Brazil. We're bringing a second container to Australia. We're going to Brazil. Gonna keep punching through. Make mistakes, be accountable, maintain yourself above the water. If you are stressed, give yourself a break, but don't be lazy. Don't be lazy. Give yourself a break. Another thing that has been helping me so much is I belong to a group of entrepreneurs.
yep.
That's good for mindset, but also I do physical activity regularly, and I don't train by myself. I train with other people.
Do you have
And
a
being,
coach?
yeah. I'm doing a Brazilian jiu-jitsu.
BJJ, yeah,
So
that's really good.
BJJ, that's awesome. That's awesome. I recommend to everyone, independent of age. We are people that belong to groups. We belong to groups. We have to find our tribes. We have to build connections. Sometimes we are feeling down, we're feeling low because we are being too egocentric, because we don't have the sense of belonging anymore. And this is important to reconnect. While in society they push our career, my career. I work with these people, but my career, your ass. We are all together. The company is us. So yeah, if I can give those messages: be technical, uh, punch through, use the right verb to think. When was the last time you described something that you are doing, or something that you have done, or something that you have to find an agreement between the other person, and you are using the verbs I believe, I feel? Use the right verb to think. The other one is to be part of a group, and try to do physical activities, not by yourself at the gym using earphones. I bring my earphones, I pull weight at the gym by myself. Bro,
So
talk to other at the gym,
you
talk to
recommend them
other
to do group activities.
group activities and physical activities if possible in group. We men, we bond when we do an activity together. Yes, so it's very important. If you go to the gym, don't bring your earphones. Don't show that you are selfish. People with big ear muffs like this, like walking on streets. It's like, man, I don't care to anybody around me. Or I'm at the gym with big earphones like this. I don't care anybody around me. Bro, take the earphones out. See someone doing the exercise. Hey, man, nice. You need help. Blah blah blah. And then
Yeah,
try to be that social, man. You're gonna be happier. You're gonna be happier. And
good. So
I've been doing it. I've been doing it, and I I can think, I can feel, and I believe that I'm on the right path.
okay, so be technical, punch through, use the right verb, do not use I believe, I feel, use I think instead, and do physical activities is what you recommend to all the
Physical
listeners and all my
activities
audience.
in group, like have a group
Group
related to
activities.
your business. Yeah, have a group related to your business. Could be the church, could be whatever. And when you do physical activities, because Leandro, is impressive that we don't need to hunt anymore. We just go to the supermarket and get food. And people, and it's it's funny. Food is medicine. Food is medicine, and medicine is drug. In the end, food is drug, because if they are equal, food is drug. And man, what's the difference of drinking a beer and drinking water? What's the difference of taking medicine and taking drugs? You all ingest them and they go to your stomach. So it's the same process. So people don't need to exercise to get their food. Before you had to be fit, otherwise you are hunted or you cannot hunt. Now people are losing their body capacity, and it's proven, scientifically proven, that body and mind are connected. So if we treat ourselves like whatever we are now, we don't run anymore. We just sit.
Yeah,
Even look at this pose here, Leandro. Come on, this is the most natural pose ever. Like this,
fuck, man. Stop.
sitting like this. This is the most natural pose ever. People cannot do this anymore. You know, this is how we shit. These animals,
Stop, let's
human.
stop here. So be technical, punch through, use the right verb, do not use I believe, I feel, use I think instead, do physical activities in group, and this is what Felipe has recommended us to do. And for all my
And
listeners, for all my audience, I would like you to know that I am working on my next product, which I call Budgeting 1.0, which involves building information modeling, which involves Excel, where I show you, where I teach you how to build a dashboard from scratch based on all the data that you get from the model that you design using Revit, right? I also teach you how to use MS Project and plan a construction site, a construction project from the beginning to the end. And then I show you how to analyze the critical path in the software. Other than that, there are a few more things, and the pre launch will happen in May 2024. Put it in your calendar, and you are very welcome to do it. If you buy the ticket right now, you will have a really good price, and the price will change in January 2024. So go there, buy the price right now. Right now we are 8, and I hope to have more of you there. So Felipe, I would like to give you a really huge thank you for coming. Thanks for sharing all this knowledge and stories with us. That's a brilliant journey. and you have just shown us that you actually need to go through. If you believe into something, if you believe in something, just go and do it, and do
You
not
believe?
matter
No.
if you think that's the
Leandro,
right word, right?
you think nothing, man.
If you
Because
think that it's the right thing to do, just go and do it.
there are many people that believe in something and they will die believing in something, and that has never come, it has never happened. How many people die thinking Jesus would come back? And they believe that. They believe.
Everybody, the link to buy the ticket for the pre-launch that is happening in May 2024 will be in the description, whether you are watching this on my YouTube channel or in my podcast. And I hope to see you there. Philippe, thank you. I'm gonna end the this episode right here. And thanks for these 2 hours of ideas, knowledge, and stories.
Okay. I just would like to thank you, Leandro, for the opportunity. It's not the first time we speak, but it's the first time we had a conversation that has been recorded. I think you are doing great. I admire your work,
Thank
and
you.
I think that you're going to be very successful in anything that you put yourself on. And I'm looking forward to seeing new ventures. Because those who don't know, Leandro is the jack of all trades. You know, so he has many businesses inside of other businesses. He's a professor. He's a dancer. So
That
I'm
dancing
looking
is my
forward
hobby. It's not kind of a business right now. It's just a hobby. I just love dancing.
it
I
could become
also,
a business.
yeah, it's good. That's not my goal right now.
Okay.
I'm also looking to BJJ right now. I do boxing, which also helps a lot. Haven't been doing that for a while though, but I also believe I like to do um, group activities. It helps a lot.
Yeah, yeah. I would
So
just say between boxing and BJJ, uh, boxing is a sport of impact on the head, and I
yeah,
have had lots of impact on the head. I spoke this on the early in the podcast.
yeah.
Today, I avoid hitting my head. Like the biggest thing I have to do in my life is avoid hitting my head. Even if I have to play soccer and they say, "Oh, hit the ball with your head," I don't do that. I don't do that. So BJJ is the martial art that I found through my experience that you can keep practicing your entire life, and the chance of having a blow on the head is really low. So I do recommend, if you do boxing, man, go for BJJ to have a prosperous and long, like you 70, 80 years old, being like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Okay, don't be like Muhammad
Go
Ali, like
there, do both, do many martial arts, as many as you possibly can. Thanks,
okay.
Felipe. Great to have you here. And to finish, listeners, next week I'm gonna have Diego here. He is a site manager, so we will be talking a lot about construction and problems into construction. Thanks a lot. Thank you, Felipe. Have a great day.
Cheers, Leandro. All the best, man. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Bye.